not forget to click like and subscribe. You may also click the bell button below, then share. Our lesson for this time is about realism in education. Then what is realism? Realism is derived from a Greek word res, which means real. This is a philosophy that things exist objectively. Then who advocated realism? Realism is first advocated by Aristotle. Who is Aristotle? Aristotle is the father of realism. Another one who advocated realism is Thomas Aquinas. Thomas Aquinas believed that only God can touch the soul because he believed that God is the ultimate teacher, while teachers can only point the way to knowledge. These two are called the classic realists. Another one, we have Francis Bacon and John Locke. Francis Bacon is the originator of knowledge is power. And from the educational perspective of John Locke, children should be taught as emerging adults because they are rational creatures. Realism advocates that reality is outside of our minds. Why? Because according to Aristotle, humans are the only creatures endowed with the ability to think. Therefore, their purpose is to use their ability. What are in your head must be shown in reality. Realism are not internal to minds as idealists claim. Because in idealism, if the ideas are already in the consciousness, then it is already good. But for realism, it encouraged the learners to use the knowledge into their world. Another, realists believe that perceived objects exist independently of the mind, that whether or not we perceive these objects, they really exist in the world. Meaning, whether you like it or not, everything surrounds you will exist in your mind independently. Even you ignore it, if that is existing in your world, then time will come, it will perceive in your mind. In realism, what is the purpose of education? The purpose of education is, of course, to teach students about the world in which they live. Realism says that the most accurate and efficient way of learning is through the curriculum of organized and classified subject matter discipline. Now, the question is, who are the realist teachers? Realist teachers are those who believe that teachers should be equipped with a wide repertoire of methods of teaching to achieve their goals. This one is saying that to cater the different needs of the students as being a teacher, you should be equipped with different approaches, strategies, or methods in teaching. Yes, it is true. Why? Because it is impossible to teach using one or two strategies only. Remember that every learner has different needs, personality, and learning styles. Then, as being a teacher, you need to reach those needs for you to be called as effective teacher. And for the learners to learn in an effective way. If you want to keep them motivated and experience fun in learning, then teach them the way they learn effectively. Also, as being a teacher, you must have the full mastery of the knowledge of present life. That is what realist teachers believe in. Another is that realist teachers believe that their primary responsibility is to bring students' ideas about the world into reality. Is this applicable for now? For me, yes. Why? Because I believe that knowledge is useless if you really cannot use them or if you cannot bring them into reality. Relating to love, if I will choose, do not say that you love me, but show that you love me. Yes, it is, because I guess love does not work if it only lies in our mind, if it only lies in our consciousness. Another, who are the realist teachers? Those are the teachers who believe that deductive and inductive logic and the scientific method are reliable means to discover knowledge. What is deductive reasoning? This is about discovering the knowledge from general to specific. I'll give you an example for that. Suppose the lesson is about the cell. You may start presenting your lesson by discussing the general perspective of human before moving on to the cell. It is just an inverse or opposite of deductive. Even deductive, we started discussing the lesson with the general perspective about human. In inductive, we start with the cell. As you can see in the arrow, you start from the specific principle going to the general principle. Who else are the realist teachers? Realist teachers are those who believe that the use of technology is just an aid of learning. They recommend computer programs to be as realistic and effective as possible. This time, I really would like you to focus on the difference between idealism and realism. It says in here in our slide that idealism is about searching for true ideas. For realism, it's about understanding the present practical life. What does it mean? It means that in realism, what matters is to look for the present and live a practical life. I remember a story about a girl when she was at her young age. She wished for a perfect boy or a perfect guy, of course, based on her own perspective. Tall, dark, handsome, epitome of intelligence, and a man with perfect character. Sad to say, she was not able to find this kind of man. Kakahanap ng perfect guy, di niya namamalayan tumanda na siya until she said, basta lalaki, pwede na. Did you see here the concept of idealism versus realism? At young age, the girl is wishing for a perfect guy in which the standard is very high, very perfect or perfect, until she realized that her present situation, idealism philosophy is no longer applicable for her. And that she shifted to realism. Kaya ang sabi na lang niya, basta lalaki, pwede na. Idealism and realism. For idealism, it says in here that a person must have the knowledge and character. But for realism, this is about providing the students with essential knowledge that he or she will need to survive in the natural world. In realism, it is a matter of surviving to the natural world. This is about giving man the basic information needed for his survival. Another, idealists place less stress on physical and material studies than they do on studies that are non-physical, abstract, and universal. Because if you can still remember, in idealism, it discourages us to focus on material things or material studies, but focus on ideas that are universal. In here, realism, what is important are the material studies. And one of the best examples for that is science. What is given emphasis in realism is about the study of material studies, especially in the field of science. Okay, for you to reflect on, I have here a question. What elements of idealism do you agree with? Then why? And these are the references that I use. I use the book of Lim, Kobik, and Kasihan, which is entitled The Teaching Profession. And if you really would like to read more about realism, you may visit the site that you can see on your screen.